Okay guys, hopefully you are really comfortable with our 1 and 2 step equations after the last couple days. So now we're going to get into multi-step. So when you're doing these, I want you, feel free to use all the color in the world to show your steps, but the biggest thing is don't skip your steps. Now, if at any point this video starts going too fast, just tell the sub to pause the video so that you guys can catch up, okay? No biggie. Alrighty. So let's go for something a little bit tougher than what we've been doing the last couple days. So given the example, 8 equals 1/2 times the quantity negative m minus 1. So first thing, let's go ahead and do some steps, because our 1 and 2 step equations, there wasn't a lot going on, but here we're going to have anywhere from like 4 to 6 steps. So when we're looking at our steps, hopefully you guys are looking at this and something is shouting out at you. Like, you know, this 1/2 in the parentheses. I know you see it. Okay, so first thing, you're always going, if you can, you always are going to want to distribute. Okay, that will always be your first step, is to distribute. So we're going to go ahead and distribute this 1/2. So we get 8 equals 1/2 times negative m. So negative 1/2 m minus 1/2. All right, now what do you think we're going to do?
Yeah.
Okay, so once we've distributed, there isn't anything to do for this one, but the second thing you're always going to try is to combine like terms. And I will give you some examples where we have that, but I don't want to skip that step. So CLT, if you're not going to remember what that is, then just write combine like terms. Alrighty, so again, there's no like terms, and by that I mean look at the left side of the equation, so there's nothing. Look at the right side of the equation. Well, I can't combine a 1/2 and a 1/2 m. That m messes everything up. So we can't combine anything, so we're going to go ahead and isolate. We are going to isolate this variable. And what I mean by isolate, think about it. If you're isolated on an island, you're all by yourself. Okay, so in order to isolate, we're going to get all the variables to one side and numbers on the other. Alrighty, so my m is already, like there's only one m on this side, so I see that as, okay, I need to move this minus 1/2. So what's the inverse or the opposite of a minus 1/2? Plus 1/2. And what I do to one side, I got to do it to the other. Alright, so here you can write this as 8.5, but like I was telling you guys, I'm not a huge fan of mixed numbers anymore. It's all about improper fractions. So 8 16/2, so 16/2 plus 1/2, 17/2 equals negative 1/2 m. And you are going to see why I'm telling you guys to leave these as improper fractions, okay? Because 10 speed it, stuff will cancel. All right, so I got a negative 1/2 m. So we got to figure out what are we multiplying by to get rid of that negative 1/2. Or dividing, because it's technically negative 1/2 times m. So you would think divide by negative 1/2, but that's no fun. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply this by its reciprocal, negative 2 over 1, because then everything cross cancels, and I'm just left with an m. And what I do to one side, I know you're saying it out loud, do to the other. I know I'm just as nerdy via, I don't know what this is called, video. Okay, so we go ahead and cross cancel this. So 2 goes into 2 once. Negative 2, negative 1. So don't forget about that negative. Negative 1 times 17. M equals negative 17. Do not forget, you can always plug back in. So if I plug this in, negative m, so a negative negative 17, so that's positive 17. 17 minus 1 would give me 16. Half of 16 is 8. All right, I feel like somebody would ask me to do that again, so I'm going to go do it again. So again, m is a negative 17. Well, this says negative m. So a negative 17 is a positive 17. So 17 minus 1 is 16. 16 times 1/2, 8. Oh my gracious, we got it right. Okay, let me go back to my steps. So distribute, combine like terms. Okay, so we're going to isolate the variables, and then in order to get that variable by itself, we will use our inverse operations. Okay, y we multiplied by the reciprocal and added that 1/2. So, all right, hopefully you're good with that one. If not, pause, ask questions, see if anybody else can answer your questions. Okay, I don't have enough room for this next example, so I'm going to go ahead and go to the back, which we're going to have quite a few more examples anyway, so if you don't have room, just go ahead and either go to the back or go to the next page if you don't like to go on the back. All right, so here, this is the second half, so if you want to go ahead and pause the video now so that you can copy the outline, and then I'll come back to that last example that I wanted to do with you. Okay, hopefully you paused the video. So I'm going to write our last example. 7 minus the quantity y minus 2 equals 7. All right, again, those steps, if you want to end up going back later and putting those on a Post-it so that you always have them around, not a bad idea, because you really want to get those, you know, hey, what am I going to do now? All right, so what did we always start with? Yes, distributing. I know you guys said that out loud because you're so excited. Okay, so when I distribute, remember that's a -1. So 7 minus 1y, or just y, I don't care. And then -1 times a -2 becomes a +2 equals 7. All right, now this is what I was saying, step 2, combine like terms. So on the left side of the equation, is there anything that is the same? Why, yes, there is. We have a 7 and a +2, Miss Romprey. Great job, guys. I know you're rocking this right now. All right, so 7 plus 2 gives us 9, and then I just bring down that minus y equals 7. Okay, how are we going to isolate this variable? How are we going to get this y by itself? Well, what do we need to get rid of? That 9. What's the opposite of 9? Well, hopefully you're thinking about that like a +9. So the opposite of a +9? -9 or -9, same thing. All right, so we subtract 9. What we do to one side, do to the other. I know you guys are so smart. So -y equals -2. Don't judge me too much, sub. Yes, I am totally a nerd like this all the time. All right, do not leave me a response that says -y equals -2. Not okay, homie. All right, we need to get y by itself. So how do I get rid of that negative? Well, what is that? What can I put in front? A -1. So I want you guys to think about what operation is being performed. Is this -1 plus y, minus y, times y? So what is it? -1 times y, I'm hoping you're saying that, because what would be the inverse operation? Inverse of multiplication? Division. So if we divide both sides by a -1, y will equal 2. Hopefully that is okay. So remember, you can always plug it back in. So if y equals 2, 2 minus 2 is 0. So 7 minus 0, oh my gosh, 7. We are so smart. Okay, so these have quite a bit of steps. Make sure you have this out with you when you're going through the homework tonight. Okay, don't hesitate. Look, use your notes. They're a tool. All right. So let's try now. So far we haven't really had much on that opposite side. So we haven't had to do a whole lot of moving around. Let's try somewhere we actually do have variables in a couple different places. So 13b equals b plus 27. Walk yourself through the steps. First, we're supposed to distribute. Is there anything to distribute? Nope. Okay. So then we combine like terms. So on the left side, is there any like terms? Nope. On the right side? Nope. Okay. So then we go to isolating the variables. So I need all the variables on one side. There's a lot of different ways you can do this. First, what I want you to look at is where are there more B's? On the left or on the right? Feel free to answer aloud even though I'm not there, because just so the sub knows that you guys aren't falling asleep. I would appreciate that. Okay, so hopefully you said on the left side, because here there's 13 B's. On the right side there's only one. Now if I want to move this one B over, again, we're thinking about inverse operations. So I need to know what's the opposite of a positive B? A negative B. Does that make sense? So if I take one B away from the right side, I must take one B away from the left side. What am I left with? Hopefully you were saying 12 B's. So 12B equals 27. Not quite done, but we're getting really close. So we need to get B by itself. In order to get B by itself, what is this saying? 12 plus B, 12 minus B? Oh no. 12 times B. So what's the opposite or the inverse of multiplication? Division. So we're going to go ahead and divide both sides by 12. So that cancels. So I'm just left with B. And now I want to look. 27 and 12. What number goes into both? I'm thinking 3. 3 goes into 12. 4 times. 3 goes into 27. 9 times. 9/4. And just leave it. You do not have to change to mixed numbers, okay? I'm totally fine with improper fractions because a lot of times stuff ends up, simplifying. Okay, so our next one, 6n plus 21 equals -3 minus 2n. Again, if at any time it's going too fast, or you want to catch up with your writing, just ask the sub to pause the video, okay? I'd rather you be able to follow along and then just pause it and catch up with your writing. That's fine with me. Okay, so again, go to those steps. What is first? First, I always want to try and distribute. I don't see any parentheses here, so I don't think I'm distributing. Then we're going to combine like terms. On the left side, are there any like terms? Nope, 21 doesn't have any n's. On the right side, nope, -3 doesn't have any n's. So no like terms, so we just need to start moving stuff around. Now, what I want you to focus on, I like to do the variables first because I'm always trying to keep my variables positive. I don't know why a teacher in the past must have told me to do that because I always instinctively do that first. So there's many ways you can do this. So when you see me do something, again, I'm sure there's about 3 other ways that you can also solve this and get the same exact answer. So your steps don't necessarily have to be in this perfect order. But like I said, I like to start with my variables. So where are there the most n's? On the left or on the right? I have 6 n's, -2 n's, definitely on the left. So if I'm going to move these over, what is the opposite of a -2n? A +2n. Great job, you guys. I know you totally just said that out loud. All right, so when we add these, I now have 8n plus 21 equals -3. Hopefully so far that's okay. So all my n's are over here. I need to move some other stuff. Now, to get n by itself, I would have to divide by 8. If you chose to do that first, you would have to do it to every single term, and that would get ugly really fast. So let's always save that division until the end. Now, how about, let's move over that 21. So again, what's the opposite of a +21? -21. Oh my gosh, you guys are just so smart. Okay, so we have 8n equals -24. Now, if you're thinking this is easy peasy, awesome, I'm so excited for you, but try not to skip out on these steps, okay? It does not take you that much longer to write things down because when people skip steps, that's where they make simple arithmetic errors, so be really careful with that. All right, so let's finish it up. Let's get this n by itself. So again, we have 8. What operation is right in here? Multiplication, 8 times n. So if I divide by 8 on both sides, I get n is equal to -3. Don't forget, you can always go back and check. So 6 times -3, -18. -18 plus 21, I'm thinking 3. So let me try the other side. If I plug in a -3, I get -2 times -3 is a +9. 9 minus 3 is 6. Did I do something wrong? 6 times -3, -18 plus 21. Uh-oh. What did I do wrong? Now I'm going to work this out because now I think I'm going crazy. All right, so 6 times -3 plus 21. So -18 plus 21, 19, 20, 21 is 3. Okay, so -3 minus 2 times -3. Oh, I see what I did. I squared. I'm still stuck on all those exponents we did. So -3, -2 times -3 gives me a +6. So 3 does equal 3. Sorry, I just had to go crazy for a minute. All right, just checking. So you can't always check your work, but do you see how easily, especially on a test, there's no reason not to get 100 because you can always check your work for all of these problems. Now don't do it as you go or else you'll totally run out of time, but if you have time at the end, definitely do that. All right, I want plenty of room for my challenge, so I'm going to go ahead and drop this down here because I don't want to have to squish it. So this challenge, okay, so our challenge, x minus 3 plus 4x equals 3 times 3x minus 9. All right, there's just a lot of stuff, but I wanted something that made you guys utilize all of those steps in the single problem. So if we're looking at this, again, where do you always start? You should start with, distributing, yes. Okay, so if we are going to distribute this 3 to both terms, so I'm just going to write my left side down, equals 3 times 3x, 9x, 3 times -9, -27. Okay, so once we distribute, then we should go back and combine like terms. So on the left side, are there any like terms? Well, hey, I have 2 x's. I got a positive 4x, don't you forget, and then a positive 1x, so I now have positive 5x. So I have 5x minus 3, and then looking at my right side, x, no x, so no, these are not like terms, so I'm just going to go ahead and write those down. Okay, so now we have to figure out which side do we want to get our variables on. Again, there's more than one correct way to do this, but I always try and keep them positive, so I'm going to look, where are there more x's, on the left or on the right? Yes, on the right side we have 9x. So how are we going to get rid of this 5x? Remember, I want to move the whole term over. So what is the opposite of this term? I have a positive 5x, so a negative 5x. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 5x from both sides. Remember, you can only combine like terms. That's why it doesn't go over the under the 27. So we have -3 equals 4x minus 27. Awesome. My x's are still positive. That's just going to save me a little bit of work at the end. Okay, so let's go ahead, keep going. I want the x's by themselves, so I need to kick over this 27. So opposite of a minus 27 or a negative 27, positive 27. What I do to one side, got to do to the other. I know you guys are so excited about this stuff right now. All right, so I bring down my 4x. -3 plus 27 gives me a 24. All right, last step. Let's get this x by itself. So again, what's the operation? 4 times x. So I'm going to divide both sides by 4 and get x equals 6. All right, again, you can always go back and plug in. but I'm pooped, so I have a feeling you guys are too. Okay, I hope that you feel pretty comfortable with this, especially after some more practice with it tonight. So take your time, get through as much as you can, and I will be back to answer any questions tomorrow, okay? All right, guys, thanks so much. I hope that this was not totally awful. Have a great day. Bye.